And even back to when we were in high school, we were peer educators for the Red Cross.
Red Cross, yeah.
So we would do HIV and AIDS education.
We've been teaching a long time. We've been doing the Lord's work a long time.
We've been doing the Lord's work a long time. Okay, so we're not new to this. We true to this.
Yeah.
Like, it's in us, And so when we were peer educators for the Red Cross years ago, even when we weren't sexually active, we were helping people. Like, hey, I got some condoms. You're sexually active? Here, I got this. I have that for you, right? So sometimes even when you're not experiencing it, you can still be of service, And so as a hairstylist, I was always talking to people about sex. And so really during really just having conversation with one of my girlfriends, she was going through a divorce and she was getting back out dating. She was getting back out into the world and seeing herself in a new way. And really trying to figure out what her new experiences would be, after being in a long-term relationship.
And then being over 40.
Yeah, being over 40 and transitioning. How do you go from being in a long-term partnership with someone, you've only been with this person sexually for 2 decades, And then how do you build your confidence to get back out there to say, I want to be in a new relationship. I want new love. I want new experiences. And that takes courage. And so I got to be a sounding board for her. But in a way, it started me in coaching women on to not just focus on the outer, but like, how do we delve deeper into the inner parts and inner workings of us when we're in transition, but we still desire love, sex, intimacy. But we still want to do it in a way that suits where we are, that we do it well, that we're healthy. So that was really the focus, So I really got to, after talking with her, I said, you think I should get certified? And I always tell Brandi, Black people love when you get a certification. They believe you. They got you. You got a certificate. As soon as they give you a certificate, they say, "Oh,
she knows something.
She knows something.
She got a little juice.
She done learned to sell something. She got a little certificate. Somebody signed it. Boom, credible. And so.
You got certified.
I got certified.
Got a certificate.
I got a certificate. Somebody signed it. Put a little stamp. Boom. Here we are.
I love that for you.
I love that for you. Certified.
She's certified. So you went through Dr. Rachel. Went through Dr. Rachel's Institute.
Yeah, Dr. Rachel's Institute. But since then, I've done a number of courses. Like, I do a lot of online courses.
You do a lot of work.
I'm constantly studying. I'm constantly reading. And just understanding this. When you study sex, you understand the nuances of sex. You understand why people do the things they do, why they sleep with the people they sleep with, why they interact with the people they interact with, why there is an attraction to certain people. And so I've learned that in talking to women, I've come to understand the things that they deeply desire, but the things that they're afraid to talk about, the things that they're afraid to say. But also in that, men find space,
Oh, now y'all, in this little sidebar, because Karli has held many a class after we tape this show, y'all. It becomes Vault After Dark. Y'all don't know. It never makes the cut for the camera.
It never makes the cut. It's too raw. Too raw. Too raw. Too raw. Okay, we want Brandi to still get her YouTube coins. Okay? However that works out. So sometimes it's a little too raw.
But in this becoming a sex educator, I mean, you've learned a lot about yourself, but you've learned a lot about women when you talk to them and men.
Yeah.
And I think in part of what, in what you and I have talked about, it really comes down to communication.
A lot of it is communication, and I think it even part of why I got on this journey was, I was really deeply in tune to my own sexuality. Even as a younger person, even when I wasn't having sex, I knew who I was. I was strong in my decision-making skills and my discernment when it came to who I wanted to have sex with, who I did not want to have sex with, right? And that takes work. Because it's not always easy for people to use their voice when it comes to not being a part of situations that are sexual that can turn very quickly. And so that's why, even when people now they say, oh, well, do you promote abstinence? No, I don't. I do not promote abstinence.
Oh, goodness. I want you to talk about this, why you don't promote abstinence, because recently you and I did Harley Initiated Live over in Your Year Strong with Dr. Trim. Mm-hmm. And we were on the stage, and you said that in a very churchy setting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you said that you didn't promote abstinence, and I could see a few gasps around the room.
Right. But the one thing I know is I'm very comfortable
with the gasp.
Yeah. I'm very comfortable with having the tough conversations because I do know sex is very taboo, and it's hard for people to talk about sex. It's very hard to have the conversation. And so I know that my goal and what I've been called to do is to help make the conversation around sex easier, to make it more engaging. But no, I don't promote abstinence. I promote sexual health and wellness. I promote sexual pleasure, and I promote consent. Yeah. And so I don't look at things as being one-sided, I look at people having the information, because when we have information, that makes us aware, okay? And so when we're aware, we're able to make choices. Yeah. And when the choices come, we're able to have freedom in the choices.
Oof. Freedom in the choices come.
Yeah. And so I understand that with that, it's difficult for people to talk about. It's hard for people to talk about. But I know it's important and it's valuable because so many times women are stuck trying to figure themselves out. And I know that was true for me, after getting married, and especially after having a baby. After having a baby, I felt like I was just, I'm a sexual woman. I like to have sex. I enjoy sex. I love my husband. I enjoy my husband, right? But then when you have a baby and your hormones are all over the place, you're like, the furthest thing from my mind is you touching me having sex. Because if you touch me, if we have sex, all I can think about is you putting another baby in me. And I can't fathom taking care of another thing right now, So I couldn't think about making my pleasure a priority because I was so busy nurturing everyone else, right? And so I could not figure out, how do I regain that sense of autonomy? How do I regain a sense of power and control over my own life? Yeah. And so, taking sex education courses for me was very liberating because I learned so much, not just about other people, but I learned so much about myself and the areas in which I was lacking, the areas in which I needed more understanding. I needed more love to be shown to me, and more grace, to extend myself some grace, but also extend your partner grace,
I want you to delve into, especially because there's so many women who are watching who have young children. Yes. Children under 5. Children under...
Oh, God bless you. God bless you.
One of my training partners at the gym, you would not know that she just had a baby, now it's probably 8 or 10 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. 2 children under 2.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't even know how she's standing.
Yeah. And even with you saying she doesn't look like she had 2 children. I mean, that's really hard for a lot of women.
Seriously.
Because it's not the snapback that we see online.
Oh, goodness.
And so when you first have a baby, no one ever told me that I was still having an orangutan belly after I delivered. No one ever told me. So once the baby was here, and I really hadn't experienced friends who I had been around them having babies, right? And so I could not understand. I was really trying to understand why this baby is here. I still look pregnant. I still look crazy.
And here's the thing, though, y'all. Y'all got to understand, Karli really did not gain too much weight when she got pregnant. You were very small. You were not. You didn't really gain weight.
Yeah, but it was still just in my mind, the pressure that I had put on myself.
For sure, yeah.
That you have this idea that you're going to snap back, that you're going to, I'm going to look great. Oh, just give me 6 weeks. I'm going to be ready. And they tell you that at the doctor, 6 weeks, you're ready to have sex again. You'll be ready 6 weeks. And then 6 weeks come and you're like,
I need another 6 weeks.
Whose time was that? And some people are. They're everyone is different. Like each woman is like a snowflake. We're all different. We all have our own DNA. And so how one woman processes one thing is completely different. And so you're dealing with your body changing. You're dealing with a new baby. You're dealing with having to nurture and care 24/7 for someone, right? But then how do you care for yourself in the process? You're never alone. You always have someone. You find women who are like, they don't even get to shower. You hear phantom cries whenever you're doing something. You're like, is that the baby? Is that the baby? Was that the baby? You sleep, is that the baby? So, but your husband will sleep through it. Baby! Your husband? Who was the man that slept in the forever?
I don't know.
Rumpelstiltskin, was that him?
I don't remember.
I don't know, but call him that.
He's a folklore.
Baby, honey, it was wild. Like, I'm like, you don't hear that? Like, yeah, so your husband sleep. They don't hear anything, but it's hard. And so you're really trying to navigate body changes. And it's hard even when your partner is saying, oh, you look so good. I'm still so attracted to you. Yeah, but I'm not comfortable. And so I've heard from so many women, they're like, I'm not comfortable with my body. I'm not comfortable with how I look. I don't really have time for myself. And in order for women to be sexual, to have any of that sexual desire created or nurtured within us, we have to have time alone. We have to have time that we get to pour back into ourselves. And that's very difficult for women who are forced to go back to work or, and maybe not forced, but you just have to, in order to make it shake and happen for your family.
Absolutely.
And so your time becomes so limited. And so it's in the time and the nurturing of ourselves that we actually get to say, like, man, I can figure out what I like and what I don't like and how I want to be touched. Because the things that we loved or we liked about when we got into a sexual experience, we're like, oh, I love when he does this. I love when he does that. Well, that changes over time. And so you're in your 20s or you're in your 30s and you're like, oh, well, I love when he did this. My partner, he does this. Or I love when she did this. And then you're like, they do that thing again 10 years later. You're like, please don't do that. If it's the last thing on earth you do, just don't do that.
Hey, Vault family, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, make sure to check out our full interview on our channel at Vault Empowers Talks. We don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential leaders and change makers. Don't forget to like, to comment, and be sure to subscribe for more inspiring conversations. See you next time.